everybody, I'm Sandy Wolters and welcome to Sandy Spotlight. I'm so excited to introduce you today to an author. He's new to me. His name is Greg Randall, and he has written a phenomenal book called Toulouse for Death. Now, Toulouse for Death is actually the third book in a series. The series is called The Chronicles of Sharon O'Meara, and it's a standalone. You don't have to read the first two books first, but I have to tell you, I read this first one and I've downloaded the other two on my Kindle, so it's that good. It's just a fabulous book. It's exciting, it's full of suspense, it's got a strong female character lead, and I just loved it. So read my review. Greg is actually here to talk to you about the series himself and tell you a little bit about himself. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to him. Enjoy the interview. Please tweet your peeps, Facebook your friends, and pick these books up. Oh, one more thing before I go. I just wanted to tell you that Greg is offering all three of these books. They're on sale right now for 99 cents each. It's a special springtime sale, so pick them up. You have nothing to lose, and you've got hours of enjoyment ahead of you. So, okay, I'll talk to you later. Over to you, Greg. Bye-bye.
I want to thank Sandy Wolters for the book review. She has been an important part of the book review industry, and I am thrilled that she has taken the time to review my latest book, Toulouse for Death. Thank you, Sandy.
Tell us about yourself.
This is my second career. My first career as an urban designer and planner has been exciting and interesting and has got me around most of the country. But what it also did was help to build a foundation for writing. About 20 years ago, I started writing historical books, nonfiction books, on urban planning, and the eventual evolution has now moved into fiction and novels. The Sharon O'Meara Chronicles, Toulouse for Death being the latest, and a wonderful novel that takes place in 1956 in Michigan called Elk River.
Toulouse for Death is your latest book. I understand this is the third in the series.
Yes, Toulouse is the third. This book is kind of fun and exciting because it gets me back into some of the things I really enjoy, which are historical books, World War II especially. And I thought if there was an opportunity to take some part of World War II's story and convert it into something that would have a present, something that would be able to work with the present, I thought that would be kind of fun. Well, in watching some World War II videos, I watched the Americans kind of find all the German gold and absconded with it. And I said, well, that might be an interesting way to begin the story. And that's how Toulouse starts. A couple soldiers find a bunch of gold and art, and now, almost 60 years later, one of the soldiers wants to return one of the paintings they stole. Unfortunately, or fortunately for the story, there is a group in Argentina who wants something else that was with the art, and the story begins.
Wonderful. What are the Sharon O'Meara Chronicles?
The Chronicles, as I call them, are a series of books that feature Sharon O'Meara. She is a problem solver, and as these three books, the fourth one's in production now, kind of chronicle her life after she left the Army, and her life as an investigator. And there's nothing better than a girl carrying a gun.
Well, that was my next question. So who exactly is Sharon O'Meara?
Well, Sharon O'Meara is an ex-Army cop. She left the service, needed a job. She's in her mid-30s, decided to live in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, and she initially got a job as an insurance investigator because of her experience as an Army MP, but due to some incidents in the first book, Land Swap for Death, she got fired, and now in the second book she's trying to find a job in Containers for Death. That worked out pretty well. She sees herself sort of in the Travis McGee mode of an investigator, salvager, facilitator, and that's what she has become. She's sort of identified herself as someone who helps people, solves problems for them, and when possible, make a buck or two doing it.
Why do you write?
Oh, storytelling. I love to tell stories. I mean, that's kind of trite and everybody says that, but it is true. It gives me the opportunity to structure a story that would involve the reader, will carry them on a journey, will keep them hopefully interested, and it's fulfilling for me.
What's the hardest part of writing for you?
Oh, the hardest part of writing. Finding the time. A good book will take hundreds, if not thousands, of hours to write. You're living in your own little world while you do that. So it's finding the time. And it really forces you to be disciplined and to organize your own time to be able to complete the story.
The easiest?
Oh, the easiest, I think, is finding the stories. Everywhere you look, there's an opportunity to write something, whether it's in the newspapers, magazines, newspapers. Celebrities are a source of tremendous amount of stories for writers out of the LA area. Michael Connelly, David Baldacci, all use their environment down there as sources. And I find the same thing here in San Francisco Bay Area as a source for my characters and a source for interesting stories. In fact, the new book I'm working on right now deals with the America's Cup as the background and Sharon's involvement in rich people with their toys.
What is your greatest pleasure about writing?
The greatest pleasure of writing is getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, making coffee, and sitting at a computer screen. And now, the greatest pleasure I have actually is knowing that I've told a story that someone enjoys. It is very egotistical on the part of the writer to go to having dinner with friends who've read the book and they really like it. You kind of roll your eyes and say, well, they're friends and they're telling you what you want to hear. But it's really a lot more fun is when you have someone who sends you a note or a letter or a comment on your blog that says they really enjoyed the story and they've got nothing personally invested. They just like it.
I understand that you're also a publisher. Why is that?
Well, publishing is sort of as a direct result of the massive changes in the writing and publishing industry that are going on, which are unbelievable with respect to writers. 20 years ago it was impossible, or almost impossible, for a writer to get his work out on the street or to sell it or market it. Now with ebooks, with Amazon, Smashwords, and others in the industry, to be a publisher is an easy transition for a writer to be able to convert your stories, get them on the street, get them turned around in months, not years. And it's a challenge to the big houses, the 7 big houses in New York, because now there's millions of writers out there nipping at their toes.
Do you have any words of wisdom, so to speak, or inspiration for those that are thinking about writing?
Writing is a complicated business. You have to be organized, you have to be able to use the language, you have to understand the language. The ability to compose and do sentences, you get sort of wrapped up in the technology of writing. And I think that's what is difficult for people who are getting into this sort of profession. It's archaic. We're storytellers that have been thousands and thousands of years, from the Homer and the Iliad and the Odysseys. And I mean, these are all stories. They're all sometimes the same story told over and over again. But writers have a reason to write. Dig down in your heart and soul and find out what you want to write, what you enjoy writing. Can you entertain people with your work? A lot of the technology of writing you'll learn. Go to classes, go to seminars, read a lot about writing. But fundamentally, it's just sitting down and writing. Start that first paragraph. Do the second one. Write that first 1,000 words. Get that next 10,000 words in. And if it's something you enjoy and something you like, you will write. It's simple. If it doesn't hold your interest, then move on. Go try and do something else. Most writers successful writers, John Grisham, all came from other professions. A friend of mine, Bob Dagoni, who writes great legal thrillers, was an attorney as well. I don't know what it is about attorneys, but they've all gotten kind of disappointed with their profession and have all become writers. But I've also seen housewives who become writers. J.K. Rowling is a great example. She had a story to tell. She didn't know where it was going to lead. Obviously, Harry Potter has led the world for the last 5 years, both in literary circles as well as in movies and other things. When you look at what Tom Clancy did, he was an insurance writer. He had an insurance agency. He wrote a story called The Hunt for Red October. He had the fortunate happenstance of Ronald Reagan being asked what he's reading. And he said, The Hunt for Red October. The rest is history. You don't let the writing profession scare you. It's easy and really, really hard.
So I know that we're all looking forward to so many of your adventures and the pieces that you write. Any last words for us?
Yes, I do. I have one last word. Actually, it's a couple of last words. Buy my book. Toulouse for Death is a great story. It's a fun read. You'll enjoy it. And hopefully then you'll pick up the others, Land Swap for Death and Containers for Death. You'll love Sharon. She's great. There's nothing better than a hot chick with a gun.
We can't wait.